Hello, good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and welcome to another NerdTube Star Trek episode review. We are here tonight talking about more Prodigy. Season 2, episodes 11 and 12 this week are what we are discussing. Um, I would not be remiss to not introduce my fellow Trekkies in arms. To my right, we have Cousin Cheeto. How are you this evening, sir?
Good. Looking forward to talking about these episodes.
Below him is Zam. Hello, hello. How are you?
Fine, thank you. It's good to have a couple of episodes that really felt more about the main narrative than filler.
Agreed. Agreed. And then to his left, we're joined this week by Lord Donkey. How are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. I'm just happy there was a Star Trek Nemesis reference.
Indeed. And a very special cameo.
Very special.
Very special cameo this week. This two-parter involved Castaway Chakotay and the kids helping him eventually get the Protostar off of the planet. But they are 3,000 miles or light years away from Voyager at this point. So, get right down to it. Let's get some overall impressions. We'll start go anti-clockwise. What did you think, Lord Donkey?
Oh, no, these were great. This was the Chakotay just needed a Wilson volleyball out on the planet with him. It was nice to see Chakotay kind of soften to the crew and stop being so grumpy and kind of work through some of his trauma that he's been dealing with being stuck there for 10 years. And just the way they got the ship off of the planet, I thought was very unique and interesting. You know, we've seen wrecked starships before, and they just kind of, oh, hey, it's back online. We're good to go. So I enjoyed it.
No, it was a creative solution, and it made for some entertaining television. Sam, what did you think?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, sorry, I apologize, my notifications. As I mentioned, it was good to get an episode where finally we caught up with Chakotay, like actual Chakotay, and I just really felt that the first of this two-parter was definitely giving us the exposition that we needed to make more sense of this entire season, and I enjoyed it. It was a pick me up for Chakotay as well to maybe get his mojo back as well. He wasn't totally alone. He did have Janeway. Sorry, go on.
He did have the holographic Janeway, but it was very much how Chakotay got his groove back.
Yeah, exactly. And it's weird in a way. There's one scene where they said they had plenty of food, yet Chakotay seemed to be eating the fish all the time, which was a bit of a weird thing. I'm not sure if you guys picked up on that.
Yeah, he was scraping off the
caviar,
eggs, the caviar, and putting it on the fruit.
Fish eggs.
And one other thing as well, but I'm happy to talk about the episode in general, but one other thing is, like, first of all, it looked like there was just a little island that they were on where the ship just happened to have crashed. But then next thing you know, when they get the car working, like, they're fucking going all over the place. You know, the island just somehow expanded, you know, to a lot, ended up being a lot bigger when they were trying to catch Vidal in the following episode. Oh, those are just my things I just picked up on regarding the both episodes together. But yeah, I did enjoy this. This was a far better couple of episodes than what we've been having recently.
Excellent. And Cheeto, your thoughts?
Poor Chakotay, man. He has been marooned for a total of 17 years somewhere. Like, he was marooned out in the Delta Quadrant, and yeah, granted, he had the whole crew of Voyager. Fair enough, for 7 years. But then he's on this planet, marooned for 10 years, where it was him and his first officer. And his first officer had obviously been dead for a long time when they found him. Spoiler alert for the episode. So yeah, like, I feel bad for Chakotay. I mean, you know, good old crotchety Chakotay Skywalker out there, you know, like, I'm surprised when they didn't hand him something and he threw it over his, shoulder and started walking back to the Protostar.
No,
A lot of
definitely.
Last Jedi things in here that I was like, wow, that's, I'm surprised it didn't have blue milk.
That was a smart choice.
Also, Daniel Vance just with a couple comments here. He says,
Akuchimora.
Akuchimoya.
Akuchimoya.
I'm like, what is a Akuchimoya?
I remember that from
Bless the
Voyager.
stream and all its viewers.
Bless you too.
Let's hear it for Adric. The old feathered fool, he died so the rest of us could live. That is correct. His name was Adric. I forgot that's what his name was.
I'll raise my tea to Adric.
I'll raise my Subway dippers.
I'll raise my and I'll see
Subway
your Subway
dippers.
dippers, and I'll raise you a peach water and a packet of paracetamol.
What we got, Donkey? Hey,
Old tea, but my new cup.
nice cup. I love it. Okay, so with that out of the way, yeah, the really felt like some Dahl and Gwen episodes, though, to me. Like, they were both having growth, and maybe it doesn't seem like a Gwen episode on the surface, but I'm kind of getting vibes of her getting more and more comfortable in command, and maybe seeing her go some sort of Chakotay's second officer for the rest of the season, sort of thing.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. It did feel more like a Dahl episode, in my opinion.
Right.
Him maybe more coming to the realization that he's not right for command, which
Yeah.
no shit. Like I could have told you that a while ago. I don't know. I felt like there was more with Jankum and Dahl this episode than Gwen. But I mean, I see where you're saying that you see kind of like the background Gwen stuff going on too. But I just didn't think about it until you said something about it.
No, I think regarding Dahl, like you found that the guy's loyal and he'll go out of his way to help his friends, but he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But he's a fucking idiot, and you saw that when it came to the rudder.
They give him the ropes. Just go do something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But he jumps headlong into danger. Not very clever, but it's loyal and brave.
I'm surprised Chakotay didn't go, I've dealt with your kind before. Have you ever thought about maybe being a cook or maybe an ambassador or maybe a...
I see where you're going with that. And no, he does have Mad Neelix vibes. I never
He
put it
does.
together
I mean,
before.
I like Neelix more than Dahl because at least Neelix was
To
nice.
be fair, though, Neelix not an annoying kid.
True that.
Dahl is.
True.
So
As I said, I never really got
once
annoyed
Dahl,
with Neelix.
Will Dahl mature a little bit and be a responsible, good Starfleet officer and less chaotic?
I hope not.
It'd be interesting to see.
It's hard to know where you would place Dahl in the in the positions of Starfleet. Like, would you make him theoretically a security officer because he's willing to help people, but at the same time he doesn't listen to orders? So
I think he's going to be more of like a helmsman because they've already hinted at several times about him driving and flying in this season.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be more of like a helmsman type
I
character,
agree.
like a hotshot helmsman type character. He
He can
flies
be our
the
new
ship.
Barry Kim.
He flies he likes to go fast, but he's slow at bringing lumber. He got chewed out by Chakotay.
Yeah.
You need to know his starboard and port and stuff like that eventually if he's going to be a helmsman.
This is true.
Yeah.
Those
Those terms are so easy. Left has 4 letters, and port has 4 letters.
Oh, that's a good way to remember it. Left is port because both are 4 letters. I'll try to remember that.
4-letter words. I remember that.
You're welcome.
We love our
Good
4-letter
light-
words.
Yeah, we
around
do
here.
love our 4-letter words here.
We do. We were just talking about 4-letter words before this.
Hope.
Hope.
Oh, the best 4-letter word.
Don't do that. Don't give me hope. Sorry, that's a Marvel reference. Sorry. Wrong stream.
So yeah, what did you guys think of the action sequence where they're having to drive the runaway and try to find Dal underneath in the series of tunnels, riding away from the eels? I thought that was fun.
No,
Well,
this is
they
pod
turned it
racing.
into a hover ship.
If I could just get to what happened before that, was
Yeah.
with Jenkum, the miraculous engineer. And by the way, I think people are underestimating how much of a great engineer he is. If anything, he's probably one of the most valuable people in that crew, because the guy was able to fix that vehicle while Chakotay had 10 years to fix it and couldn't do shit with it. And then Jenkum, within a week or a day, got his hammer hand out, fixed it, no problem.
Yeah, rok-tauk and Jankum are definitely the two most useful characters in that party. Like, I mean, like the original party, not including Chakotay. Like, yeah, I've always thought that. Like Murph, I mean, he's useful for his utility, but he's not.
He's a good fisherman.
Yeah, I guess.
But Chakotay said, "No, put it back. It's too much."
So,
we have to find balance with nature.
Right.
But regarding that scene, and like it almost felt like a video game, because when they go down into the tunnels and stuff like that, and it's amazing how Dal ended up down there so quickly. But regardless, they see his dead friend holding the antimatter like that. It felt so much like a fucking video game where you find a character holding a loot item.
Yeah, they're looking for the MacGuffin, and they find it in the bones of their old friend.
Yeah.
Which means Chakotay never went to look. Or maybe he
Chakotay
did.
was Luke Skywalker in Yoda in and Ben Kenobi in, just exiling himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's very concerned about bringing that virus back to the Federation. Use that weapon.
I did like when Dal's like, "We already handled that. Like, we already did," and Chakotay's like, "What? Like, what? What?
Who are you?"
Yeah, who are you?" I'm surprised. I mean, I guess I can. If those guys were, I was gonna say, I'm surprised he remembers them. But I mean, if they were pretty much the last people they saw outside of each other, like Chakotay and Adric, so probably they would remember. He would remember them. But I'm thinking 10 years. How would he remember them? Like just in that quick meeting. But yeah, that's the last people they saw. So
it's a significant thing that happened in his life, for him
escaping Tarzan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but sorry, I lost my train of thought. Go on, continue.
No, Chakotay probably didn't look. But 10 years to not look, that's a long time. But
as
maybe
I said, he's channeling a Skywalker in this one.
Well, he was like in the tunnels and stuff like that. He needed his car to do what they did. Without the car working, yeah. And
it's dangerous out there. Take this car.
This may be a stretch that he couldn't send a probe out there or didn't go search. Didn't have an inkling of where the corpse was.
Well, but I mean, they didn't have any power either, really, because like they had the reserves, but like they ejected the Protostar core, and then I think they ejected.
Jacob was so mad about that.
They ejected the warp core, I believe, right?
Oh, the antimatter and the matter. He ejected.
Yeah, they got rid of the antimatter and the matter. So
right.
I remember now. I'm worried I'm going to forget, but this Protostar they're at is the Protostar that will end up being the Protostar from season 1, correct?
Correct.
If they fix everything.
With Janeway obviously doesn't reckon, so it's good that somehow they have to really make it look tip top by the time it ends up ready for them to be able to use for season 1, because all of these things matter as well, by the way. Time travel and all of that
affecting.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe they can leave it there like a decade early and set the self-repair function. Set it and forget it like a crock pot.
Another thing bugged me
So
is that
stupid.
when they were trying to move the ship into the ocean, like Dahl was trying to use the card that
That was
they
cool.
yeah, it was weird, like cloudy ocean. I liked it, by the way.
Mhm.
A very
Yeah.
very unique planet, which I've always been striving for from my Star Trek and Star Wars. But he
Right.
used the car to try to pull the ship, and then that wasn't working, and they just had to move that fucking giant pebble, and then the ship would move. But then they left the car behind after they finished fixing it earlier on, and stuff like that pisses me
Yeah,
off.
I
You
But
said
know,
that.
remember,
I was like,
it's so
why are they
useful.
leaving them? Yeah,
It's
they
so
have a
fucking
vehicle
useful.
replicator if the ship was back to.
But the ship's not working yet, so you don't know
Mhm.
exactly if. And I mean,
Yeah.
like it hovers, like the car
Yeah.
hovers, so it's not like all they had to do was after like when they were leaving, all they had to do was hover it up and then just slide it right back in the dock. You know, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
they left it for no reason at all. Like they could have made a good point to keep it, but
Like, couldn't they? Well, they probably didn't have the power to transport it back on, but that's
they could have.
that's
Well, they don't have the
resources
power.
they
Yeah,
could have, deconstructed in the vehicle replicator.
I mean, by the time that ship started moving, they could have just driven it up in
back.
there.
Yeah,
They'll get another one. They've got another car at home.
I personally think that they had to leave it behind, or it would end up being a plot device that they can't go. They needed it gone, or else it would be something useful in a situation where they
Exactly.
can't have it. You know what I mean? In later episodes.
the writers got rid of it for a reason.
Daniel
Yeah.
Mance with the Event Horizon reference there.
That was Back to the Future.
Yeah,
That's Back to the Future.
bro.
Oh,
Roads,
oh,
we
you're
don't-
right.
We don't need roads.
No, well, I was thinking of more like you won't need eyes for where we're going. Like that was what I was thinking. But okay, yeah, Back to the Future. I see it there. Sorry, look, I'm not as huge as a
Third
fan
card
of Back
revoked.
to the Future.
Just kidding.
I've seen Back to the Future too, like twice. I'm not a big fan of Back to the Future. I like the third one best.
Growing up, we had the first movie VHS. So for like the first 10 years of my life, I thought that was the only one. And then I got the other two from the library and was like, holy crap, there's two more movies. So
I like the third one. I like the Old
two.
West one. That one was my favorite.
I'm with you, Daniel Vance, by the way, regarding Event Horizon. And my only issue with the third one is that there wasn't enough Buford Tannen, who was superbly portrayed by that actor whose name escapes me. He was fantastic. All the different Tannens he played were fantastic. Good actor.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they felt unique too.
Anyway.
So yeah, they had to convert the ship into the airship to go into the eye of the storm and collect deuterium.
Deuterium.
Yep, the deuterium gas, and they make the fart joke.
Isn't deuterium a real like stellar gas though, or is that made up? I don't remember.
I don't know,
remember either.
But I liked Jacob Pop saying this is the first time I'm happy that we got gas or something like that. You know?
Yeah, his fart joke.
Sailing the Protostar felt like a knockoff of Lost. I think I know what you're on about. Was it from the television series Lost in? I mean, sorry, the recent series, the new series. I think I've seen I've seen all the seasons of that, but I recall them doing something similar. Yeah.
Oh, and here I thought it was original and clever. Just don't see
There's
enough media.
so much stuff out there, though. Nothing is really original.
Yeah, you're always going to be taking, like Star Trek
There's
itself.
always a little bit of inspiration from somewhere.
Star Trek brought a lot to the table, and then you're always going to be taking something from each other's shit. You know what I mean?
Deuterium is a real isotope of hydrogen that is used as fuel in this fictional Star Trek universe, but it is real.
Deuterium, it's probably got 2 electrons. Okay. So we got one snippet of Voyager this this pair of episodes.
I'm sorry, he brought up a really good comment here. Beverly Crusher was in this as well.
That's what I was getting to.
I'm sorry.
No, go.
Right. thought that it, like, even from when we see her first in Picard, like, and she mentions Wesley, like, go visit your mother, damn it.
So this is obviously way before Picard, isn't it?
Yeah, this is like
Yeah,
15
'cause
years, I think,
they mentioned that Picard was helping the evacuation.
of Romulus. Yeah, that's still yet to happen in the Lower Decks Prodigy time era, like where we're at on those two shows. And actually in Lower, I think, didn't they mention? No, they mentioned it in this show, the Romulan evacuation.
Yeah,
I think.
But,
it was
Oh,
this
but-
week.
I was
but
gonna say, the
Jack
doctor
Crusher,
mentioned the Cerritos.
but Jack
Yeah.
Crusher is alive. He's a child, but he's alive
Mhm.
right now.
Yeah, because they mentioned
Yeah.
having a real hard time getting a hold of Beverly.
Yeah, she's hiding out with Jack is the implication.
But they just
Yeah.
magically got a hold of her.
Of course.
They needed to. I mean,
Oh, that was episode 2. That was the episode 12.
It's after Jack Crusher, it's good to see Gates McFadden back. And like I said, it's always I'm a big fan of seeing all of the Star Trek elements, different shows, different characters in this entire universe communicating with each other. A Voyager character communicating with a TNG character. I love that shit.
I am
Makes
very
it
happy
feel-
that they made the reference that it was hard to get in touch with her. Like, even though it kind of feels like a butt pull with this, still, like, at least they're like, yeah, we had to pull some strings and it was hard to find her, but we found her, so you can talk to her. Like, at least they kept that consistency. Like, they didn't make it seem like, she was just hey, easy to get a hold of. And then the canon commandos would have been like, oh, but actually at this point, she probably was not around, blah, blah, like, so at least they put the effort in to keep the canon, like, going.
They pulled down their
Yeah.
little wall map of the Star Trek timeline. Listen, so right here.
God,
She
you
was
would need
Starfleet.
one.
Was she in Starfleet at the time when they spoke to her?
She was Starfleet Medical, right?
Yeah, but I think she was
Yeah.
off. I don't know if she was off grid or she was, because, as I said, they said it was hard to get a hold of her. So
And
What
wherever
what
she
ship was
was,
she on in Picard season 3 in the beginning?
that was some other.
Was that
like,
a Federation ship or a medical ship?
No.
That was a
it's a
private
bit-
ship of
Yeah.
hers.
yeah, I think it was a
perhaps.
private ship.
Yeah, the kind of the vibe I got was that Beverly had already left Starfleet
Yeah,
in this episode. But I liked well, I want to agree with what you said, Zam. It is nice to see that sort of going on. And you've said it before, but it makes it feel like it's a larger, more lived-in universe.
all connected.
Mhm.
hmm
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the right word for it.
Makes it
yeah. I
feel
mean, the
heartwarming
MCU
for
is
you.
just like exploded. That kind, like, it is demanded out of fans. We have that continuity, and I mean, we did get that in our Trek every now and then. Like, we did get that little crossover here and there. The first episode of DS9, there was 1 or 2 episodes of DS9 that crossed over with TNG.
Mhm.
Voyager crossing over with
Admiral-
DS9.
Admiral
Hmm?
McCoy.
But I think Picard done it best with having a whole series with one character from Voyager and TNG characters. Like, you actually had a proper show where you had people from previous shows that weren't.
And plus,
really
in the
together.
third season, you had a DS9 villain return. Whether they were used very well or not is not the question. But
yeah, and obviously the DS9 connection with Worf as well. But I'm always going to establish him with TNG, regardless of his DS9 connections. He's TNG first for me. But still, I love seeing that. I want more of it. Not just Easter eggs, but actual more of these sort of interactions. This is what I want from my Star Trek.
well, when you have a big universe like this, I mean, you don't want things crossing over all the time, because then that makes the universe seem small. But these nods here and there, is like in Star Trek Resurgence, the game, like Riker shows up in that as the captain of the Titan. And that makes sense because that story, like the story of Resurgence, I'm not going to spoil it, has heavily to do with Riker. Like, that's why he shows up in it. So it's not just like a butt pull cameo. It is like, no, this makes sense that Riker would need to consult on this issue. So that, that even in the games, like, it's just, I think Star Trek is finally realizing, hey, we need to, we need to kind of start doing these crossovers because that's what people want to see. But we don't want to pander to the fans with these crossovers. We want them to mean something.
It's a tough line to toe. too, because you could very easily go to one way or the other.
What upsets me a bit though is that when you had like TNG, DS9, and Voyager, which were all pretty much at the same
The
time
creation of me?
and the same sort of that same period of time. There was so much they could have done straight after that, and really all we got is Picard with 7 and 9 and Picard himself. But that's like 30 years ago, 40 years ago almost. You know, those characters are really fucking old now. Like those actors are really fucking old now, and it's a shame that where there's a chance to get more interactions between all of those actors and actresses, and some of them are dead. You know what I mean? As well. So I just hope that whilst they still going, that maybe we can get maybe a DS9 character and a Voyager character in another show in the future or something like that. Whilst they're still going, I would love to see Harry Kim, in something. Finally getting his due, so we can get this shit about him being promoted or not out of the fucking way finally.
David, I think they love that because they have had plenty of opportunities to, even on lower decks, to like showcase Harry Kim. Like he said he would come back for Star Trek before in interviews. I think they love the fact that they like leave it out there that he's just, not. I would love it if like it came out that he quit Starfleet after getting back, and he's never made it past ensign.
I mean, I wouldn't mind if they did something like that and they made him a marquee or whatever. That would be even better,
Marquee.
Why the fuck not? You know what I mean? But
Venus Ranger, maybe.
I mean, like, remember he did, in that one alternative future, he was, him and Chakotay were like outlaws, so he's got it in him, if need be. But the point is, like, he still looks good for his age. Put him in something. I mean?
Agree.
Throw Jake Sisko in some shit as well. You know what I mean? Naomi Wilder, throw her in something as well. Get fucking,
Hey, we still got 3 TOS actors alive.
No, we don't. I'm sorry, they're too old. I
don't
mind them voice acting.
Not Shatner, but the other 2.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see Bill Shatner in anything ever again. Like, all I want is for Walter Koenig and George Takei to outlive Shatner. That's all I want.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want.
I mean, for me, for instance, like we're gonna get the Doctor apparently in the Starfleet Academy show.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking awesome. That's the sort of shit I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So,
well, that's what I'm saying. I think they realize, wow, we need these things that actually mean something, not just throwaway cameos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the Crusher thing, it's not like they were like, here's Dr. Crusher for no reason. Like, they actually talked to her because of Wes. You know what I mean? Like, we need to know what's going on in this kid's head, So it just makes sense.
And then they did a very good scene and brought up something that I've always felt like that they call to light the maternal aspects of Janeway, and I always felt like that's kind of like it's a aspect of her character that's very much there that doesn't get talked about a lot in the fandom. Everybody wants to focus on badass Janeway instead of
War Criminal
Mama
Janeway.
Bear Janeway, or War Criminal Janeway instead of Mama Bear Janeway. But I liked the fact that Bev basically told her, we're both mothers in different ways. I was glad that they kind of called light to that aspect of the characterization.
Yeah, she has maternal aspects without a doubt. So
very, very like complicated character. Lots of things going on with the Janeway character, honestly.
Mm-hmm. And that's where we had our Shinzon incident mention.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what we're calling it. Rename it from Nemesis.
Yeah, Star Trek, the Shinzon incident.
We don't call the movie that. Yeah.
We don't talk about Nemesis. Renaming it.
Given Dal's judgment, I don't think it's a mistake that Dal's grabbing the arm of Chakotay when he falls overboard is reminiscent of the creation of Adam.
Cheeto.
What the fuck?
Creation of Adam. Let's go.
Fingers in the corner.
Cheeto.
Oh, you're talking about
name. Point to your name, Cheeto, on the screen. Now, Adam.
Yeah, there you go. You don't see that Was that Leonardo? Was that Michelangelo?
That's
who did that?
Michelangelo on the Sistine
Yeah.
ceiling.
I've seen that. I've seen that. I've been to Vatican City. So
What are we talking about? I'm lost.
We're talking about
The
art.
The comment.
So
Bring the comment back.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Gotcha. Okay, the creation of Adam.
Mhm.
Dahl grabbing Chakotay's arm.
Very lucky to have seen that in the flesh.
that would be an amazing experience for sure. But no, I'm kind of running out of stuff.
Did you like that montage? We need a montage to build a fucking ship into a sailing ship.
We needed a montage for that.
Oh.
Had a montage of surviving with Chakotay to try to like flip his stance about the whole leaving with them in a day. Just do it in a montage; it'll get done.
But he wasn't like he was a miserable son of a gun. Yeah, sorry, go on, Lord.
No, they how they renamed it the HMS Protostar when they got the sail up.
Mm-hmm.
Was it not called that?
Well, before it would have been the USS Protostar.
Oh
But
yeah. Sorry,
yes.
They changed it to HMS because it was now a sailing ship.
Yeah.
Sailing ship that Dahl got confused about.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, talking about Dahl's incompetence, but then into maybe perhaps character growth is like the one last thing I have notes on. Cheeto, did you find him particularly annoying this episode, or is it?
I mean, no
par
more
for the
than
course?
normal. You know what I mean?
Par
Like,
for the course.
I mean, I just this whole like insecure, and I mean that's fine. He's a kid. He's a cadet, but it's like again, he wants to be a part of our Starfleet that's supposed to be this big conglomerate. Like everybody works together to solve a problem like this, and Dahl is just always this, and it's not like it's all of them. It's like it's just Dahl. He's the only one who's getting butthurt about getting told what to do by a captain. Like, and it's not like he has any better ideas either. Like he's just being rebellious to be. He's like Raphael from the Turtles. He's being rebellious to be rebellious. It's not like anything in particular. It's not like he has better ideas. He's just like, oh, I'm angry and I'm butthurt that I'm getting told what to do. So that's my big thing with Dahl's. Like just go with the flow. Like go with the people who know what they're talking about, and don't like if you have a good idea, say it, but don't be like, I'm not going to listen to you because reasons.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed. Anything to add, Donkey?
No, just it was quite the flip in that episode 12 where first he's been told, oh, just go take care of the ropes. You're Gwen, you do the
Yeah.
rudder.
I laughed at that. I was like, yeah, that's what you get, you
Like-
dipshit.
Like very much just Dahl's in the way, and then by the end of the episode he does this heroic thing, so he makes up for that. So
It's a good moment of self-reflection though from Dahl. Like he kind of realizes that what, I ain't all that, and he knows it, and he can't hide it. It's like he's been exposed to everyone else that he just.
Yeah, but my problem with Dahl is that he gets that he gets that every episode, and he's still the same.
They
You know what
always
I mean?
roll back his character development.
Yeah, and as I said, I mean, I get it. People, real life people don't change like that really that much. Like, I mean, if I'm a dipshit in real life, I'm probably gonna be a dipshit even if you prove me wrong once or twice or 3 or 4 times. Like, but still, like with fantasy, we want to see progression. We want to feel progression, and he's like this constant like loop back to where he began.
It's a very cartoony kind of way. That's like a staple of cartoons to reset to the beginning, to the status quo every time. It's like the writers are afraid that they can't write a more complicated Dahl and lose the status quo that they've established for themselves.
Yeah,
And if we're looking for subjects to talk about, Jim, what were you going to say?
He needs to wear a red shirt quick.
Get the man a red shirt.
You know what? Dahl would be great for Section 31. That's his position.
I'd
You
say
know
if we're
what?
looking for topics to talk about that have kind of annoyed me, why have they not explored Dow's like the one episode where his genetics were kind of going crazy and he like had the genetics of a Klingon or a genetics of a Vulcan or like why don't they explore that more? Why doesn't he start changing between these genetic traits as like, maybe not at will, but like as he needs it, like if he's in a combat situation, his genetics kick in and he gets like this like Klingon like genetic trait, like
I bet-
the ridges come in and everything.
That's a good point because I totally forgot the episode that they explored his genetics
Exactly.
and that they were
It's
going
like
haywire.
they just and that episode they just rolled it back. We never
That
heard
was
anything
it. And
about
then
it
they
again.
mentioned, oh, well, genetically modified, you can't join Starfleet. Except, never mind.
Yeah,
We made
like
an
there's
exception.
been no point to his genetic. Like I could see if like
They wanted someone who's purple.
Look, I just
That's
in
it.
a way, I think it's almost like it's not significant that what he is, and in a way, I'm glad they don't investigate, but it becomes too much of the Dahl show, and already people like Jenkum and rok-tauk and Murph, when they're all feeling like fuck, even what's her face? Oh my god,
Gwen?
no, the one who changed
The
bodies.
Vulcan?
Zero.
Zero,
They're all like
yeah.
they're all feeling like extras, and now they've got the Vulcan in there as well. They're all feeling like extras. There's too much focus on Dahl at times. When sometimes they need to Wolverine him like they did in the X-Men '97 and just not make it all about him and focus on other characters and put the spotlight on them. Like they did with Zero for a little bit, which was good. And all of that. But I mean, like, whenever we really had a Jenkum episode, I can't really recall. And but it seems to be about Dahl too much and his arc, which seems to be going nowhere, I guess.
Well, and that's what I just meant. Like, but that's the example I was using about they keep on rolling back things with Dahl. Like, it's like we're like Bugs Bunny episodes where we start right at the very beginning again at the beginning of every episode. Like, oh, he never met Elmer Fudd before, but here he is hunting. Here he's hunting Bugs Bunny again. I almost said Roger Rabbit. That's. But
like I said, this is where I know where he belongs. The guy needs to do suicide mission, Section 31. That's his place in Starfleet, in my opinion.
I don't disagree.
Maybe he'll become a traveler with Wes.
Oh,
and someone will finally tell him to go visit his mother.
No, because Starfleet characters, from TOS, right up to all the more recent series, they've always been rule breakers, all of them. But there's more to them than just being rule breakers. They have expertise, they have wit, they have skills, they have abilities. Dahl, all he has is courage, but unfortunately, unlike the other people I mentioned, Dahl is also a fucking idiot, whilst the others weren't. They know what they're doing. They have abilities about them that make them be rule breakers and still come out on top. Dahl, he's a rule breaker who doesn't, but he's also like a rebel without a clue.
Wolf.
Daniel Vance's therapy is his theory, not therapy. Theory is Dahl's Starfleet experiment to build a god to combat gods to your enemies. But why would so my only issue with that experiment, I mean, would they have like Dahl acts like young Q? Well, this is true. But my only thing is that, like, what? So did they send Dahl out into the Delta Quadrant with the diviner, like towards the diviner, to get rid of him because he was a failed experiment? Like, what was the what is the purpose behind that story arc? As I said, I just think they shouldn't have rolled it back at the end of that episode in season 1, and it shouldn't be focused on. It should just be an asset where he can actually access these genetics as I said, as needed. But he can't do it like at will. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of comes naturally to him when he needs these things.
He's almost like a shapeshifter.
Almost, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay. Any other final thoughts, guys?
Well, it's good that they're back in space, and
Yes.
And now they've got a competent commander with them as well. So at least Chakotay will keep them in good stead. And with like Janeway, hologram Janeway back as well, which is pretty cool. But now they have to head off to find Voyager, which is 3,000 light years away. This is right into Chakotay's playbook. He knows what it's like to fucking travel from fucking far distances. So I'm sure they'll figure out ways of covering this ground.
Shave time off.
I mean, 3,000 light years. No, I guess that isn't, because I'm trying to think of the math, and I don't math well. I mean, it would probably take them a couple months to cross 3,000, because the Federation is 7,000 light years across, I think, like from end to end. So that's why it's always like when they say they're at the outskirts of the Federation, but then they warp back to Earth, they do it like almost instantaneously. And it's like, no, that would take you several months to do. And, with actual light faster than light physics, even at warp 9, like you would still take at warp 9, it would still take them several months to cross the whole Federation from end to end.
Voyager was 75,000 light years away, wasn't it? From
yes,
yeah. So 3,000 should be easy.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on how quickly they have to get there. They're on a time crunch now, rather than Voyager that was just like, well, we can just mosey across the Delta Quadrant and we'll get there eventually.
We're going to investigate and find coffee and nebulas.
Yeah, right.
But we're halfway through the show now, but they not only have. Yeah, but they not only have to find Voyager, but then they have to somehow rectify this time crisis that they've created as well. So we'll see what happens. I think maybe the next episode we get might be with Voyager. So we'll see.
I didn't look at what the next episodes were titled. So, and I have not watched further.
Oh, it's a tribble called Quest. So they're doing a tribe called Quest pun for the episode title.
Tribble called Quest.
A tribble called Quest.
I bet rok-tauk's gonna have a fucking field day with that episode.
Oh,
I like rok-tauk. Rok-tauk's like my favorite. I wish she had more screen time.
It's funny because there would be a time when someone like Jenkin Pog would not be my favorite, but I like Jenkin. I think he's there's more to him than meets the eye, which is what I like about him.
I liked Murph more in season 1 because he was just the pet.
Mystery.
Yeah, like no, he's just the pet. I don't like this whole like, oh, he's a security officer. It's like you can't understand him. How are you gonna have a security officer you can't understand?
Wes could understand him.
Well, that's because Wes is a traveler and he's,
Wes is the doctor now.
He is.
And Gwen was trying to understand him.
Gwen was, and I hope they actually do figure out the universe. Like, I really do hope they figure it out because I'm sick and tired of this whole. Let's play charades with Murph.
He's their R2D2.
No, but they can understand R2D2.
Yeah,
Luke could talk to R2D2. C3PO could talk to him. I think.
Yeah,
I don't think Han
pretend to know. Like, Lassie, what is it?
What's that? Mages in the well.
They don't have like universal translators that are built in, like. Like they might have a device over their face that will make you translate, but if you don't have that, then you have to hope you understand them. The way Han was able to understand Jabbas and Hutts and Wookiees, which is a cool trait to have.
Also, the poll is up in the chat, everybody. If you could go on in there and leave your marks on there, we'd be interested to hear what you guys think of this episode. So I guess Major Rage, we're ready to hit the marks.
Yeah, if nobody else has anything to add, I ran out of prepared material early again. My apologies.
No, it's fine. It's come to its natural conclusion. It's okay.
Can't force.
I mean, the first episode was exposition and getting Chakotay back on his feet again, reminding him who he was. The second episode was the sailing adventure, which was pretty cool in its own right. And like I said, now they're back in space. They'll probably have little shenanigans before they meet Voyager. I'm sure there'll be some sort of con artist in space or something like that, that they'll have to deal with. So look out for all of that, in my opinion.
Just hopefully it's not a Kona again.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, or they're going to have some sort of mystery element that's going to put them in some sort of like time bubble or some sort of bullshit bottle episode where it's just going to be more to do with just them having shenanigans than the overall story arc, because like I said, there's 20 episodes. They're gonna. I think we're coming into some filler next week.
Plausible, very, very likely.
And if it's good filler, I have no filler is inevitable in every show we watch. If it's good filler, then I'm fine with it.
Agreed. Some of my favorite Dragon Ball episodes are filler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there is good filler out there.
And then there's the CW shows.
Cheeto, do you want to start with the marks?
Sure. I'm gonna rank both these episodes together because they did feel like one. They weren't really separate, so I'm gonna do them together. I'm gonna give them a 7. There was a little bit of annoyance in there. I think this all could have been maybe one episode, but then it's in that weird area where it's like I felt like if they put it down to one episode, it might have been too condensed. But then if they had it, but since they had it in 2 episodes, it felt drawn out in some aspects. So that's where I'm like, for me, it's like a 7. Old man Chakotay, okay. Like old crotchety Chakotay was kind of like, okay, we're Last Jedi and Chakotay right now, at least for the moment. I'm like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of there's right now I'm like in the middle with Prodigy. Prodigy is doing some really good things, but they're also doing some things that are just kind of like meh. They're not doing good enough in some areas. So, and again, I know this is a show for kids, but that doesn't mean that it needs to be a show that is, or I'm sorry, this is a show that's kid friendly, but it doesn't need to be a show that's like for kids anymore. Like last season proved that kids don't watch this show very much. They really don't. Like my kids did not want to watch it. I think Vance Major, our friend over at No Budget Productions, his kid watched it and liked it, so that's great. But I don't know.
It's not going to be for every. I think sometimes your kid might have to be a Star Trek fan in the first place to maybe appreciate it, and I think hopefully maybe Starfleet Academy might be the way in today's world.
Yeah, I agree.
Kids, hopefully.
So, but yeah, I mean 7, and yeah, just my nitpicks that I've already picked out.
Sam?
It's weird. I want to mark them both, but I'm going to give the first episode 8, and I'm going to give the second episode a 7. They were both pretty good. I give the initial episode 8 because, like I said, it really felt like this is the story of the series, and it doesn't feel like filler. It did feel like one long episode, regardless, and the second half or the second episode was just the conclusion of the adventure of them getting off that planet, and which is why it didn't really never necessarily progress the overall story. It was just them getting off the planet, so I guess I'd give it a 7. But I had fun with both of these episodes, regardless.
Excellent. Lord Donkey?
I'll give them both an 8. They felt like a really good self-contained story of just Chakotay gets his groove back, and the crew gets on their way and helps the main story. I want to say something about what Cheeto was just saying about being a kids show. I'm looking at it not like it's a kids show anymore. To me, it feels like it's any other Trek, but it's about cadets, young cadets. Like it's a show about kids. It's not a kids show.
I agree.
I think that helps with how it's playing out.
I would agree with you, only if it unfortunately the first season was specifically geared towards kids.
So I mean not anymore looking at it.
Yeah, no. But you still get those. It's kind of like Discoveryisms, like, with Discovery. It's like, even though they tried to change Discovery to kind of make the fans happier, you still have those Discoveryisms. Like, this is Prodigyisms, like the kids show stuff. And it's like, the beginning of the season was strong. Like, the first couple episodes, I was like, wow, this is a real left turn from last season. I'm really digging it. And then as the season's gone on, I don't hate it. As I said, but those prodigyisms are starting to come out more and more and more.
Yeah.
And that's, as I said, I don't hate it. I mean, I've been giving it anywhere between 6, 7s, the past couple weeks. So it's above average. So, it's not like when I watched the original episode, like the first season, where I was giving it like 4s and 5s.
Yeah, but that's just how I'm looking at it. Not as a kids show, that it's about kids as cadets. So, because well, I don't know. I guess it does still feel like it's a kids show when you look at how Janeway and the other leadership interact with the main cast. It's like, no, some of these people would be in the brig if this was a adult Trek show.
Yeah, like some of the shenanigans they were pulling off was like, I mean, Dal and his crew are getting special treatment for sure.
Oh yeah.
I almost wish, in a way, that there wasn't this overarching narrative, because then I wouldn't mind them having these filler episodes and episodes that never led itself to the main plot, because it would just feel like episodic Star Trek, But because there's an overarching narrative, I just feel that if you're not, if you're not necessarily focusing on that, then it just feels like filler, and it's a mindset I can't get out of, because it is exactly what it is, So yeah.
But if you had to put a number on it, what would you give it, Lord Donkey?
Oh, 8 for both.
8 for both?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I'm also going to give parts 1 and 2 of the Last Flight of the Protostar an 8. I was pretty entertained by it, but I do see the doll stupidity, the kind of the prodigyisms, as Cheeto called them. They kind of stop it from being any higher. But I thought that it was a cool, premise. I liked the setting. I thought the planet was really neat. Just the whole idea of the gas, sea, and everything. So yeah. This has been our. Oh, you got something to add?
No, real quick little nugget. When they're up on top of the ship and they're just like, they're doing the rudder and they're steering the sails. Did that remind any of you of Riker pulling up the manual steering column?
In what?
In Insurrection.
In Insurrection.
Well, he pulled a joystick out.
Yeah,
A fucking
he's
joystick.
like, I'm taking manual control.
A joystick that would have used back in the 90s. Shit.
Yeah, Logitech.
Controls the
Yeah.
whole ship.
It does.
I got my manual joystick right here.
Logitech really outdoes
you're the
themselves in the
modern.
future. They had the controller that sank with the Titan submarine, and then you got the one that Riker uses in the Enterprise E.
It had a little red button on it as well, didn't it? Like a fucking proper.
Yeah.
They went out to Best Buy and bought a Logitech controller, and the props department dressed it up, and there you go.
There you go.
Okay. Dana Vance asks, I'm eager to know what Lord Donkey thinks of the Doctor Who spin this season with Wesley, since he wasn't here last week.
I loved Wes jumping around through time like that. It felt like Wes could have his own little Prodigy spinoff that's like sort of kid friendly. That he's just jumping around time like he's, the Doctor. I'd love that. That would work so well.
I've always said that I wanted like a Star Trek time travel show where they go and like visit different like major events of Star Trek history, and I would not be opposed to them doing that live action with Wesley Crusher. You know what I mean? Like, I would not be opposed to them doing that like as a live action thing. Probably not. They probably would do it animated just because of so many different set pieces and stuff like that they would have to construct for each episode.
Come to think of it, I think Will Wheaton would be a great Doctor, by the way. I think
if you were going to do an American Doctor, Will Wheaton would be the guy for it after seeing last week's episode.
Yeah.
That's the Star Trek Doctor Who crossover we need, not the crap we had with the mobile games this past week. That was garbage.
Oh. Okay, I know that.
I don't recommend them at all.
They're
like the idle clickers. I don't like those kind of games.
No, there's very little to sink your teeth into there.
Yeah,
But we got everybody should subscribe to NerdTube. Definitely, they should like the video. We've got more than just Star Trek content here, though. Are we doing a World's Gone Insane tomorrow, Zam?
Probably not, but who knows? I got some personal things I've got to deal with tomorrow, but with D23 also starting tomorrow.
Oh, D23 is already tomorrow. Jeez.
Yeah, for 3 days. So
so you might be seeing us at least by the what does it run through Sunday or?
Yeah, it's for 3 days, so it'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, so you might be seeing us on Monday about that. So depending on what they announce.
Exactly, and if it's something really special, you might see us before that.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently there might be a trailer for Daredevil Born Again and stuff like that. Allegedly, don't take our word for it. Daredevil Born Again.
Oh, well, let's hope they've been working on that for a while.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah. Regarding World Gone Insane, it gets a bit repetitive talking about the same stuff all the time. When things are a bit more fresh or like really sticks out, like what's happened with the London riots recently, obviously we'll talk about something like that, but that might not necessarily be on a Friday. It might just be on a day when we can squeeze in an episode. So things are changing, but I'm not saying it won't come back. It just won't come back regularly. That's all.
Understood. But still, lots of content rolling out all the time. Plenty of reasons to subscribe to NerdTube. Sometimes we say it's the greatest channel that you've never heard of, but the name is NerdTube. Remember it. Mon ami.